Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition, the holiday edition of Saturday Morning Coffee with Back to Basics Dog Training. Uh, I just want to check after last week's fiasco to make sure that the sound is coming out good. So, guys, if you could put in the comments, just let me know if you're hearing me okay. And, of course, put in the comments where you're watching from and give me a shout out and let me know you're here. So, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Leon. I'm the trainer here over at Back to Basics Dog Training, and each and every Saturday morning at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, I bring you this live free dog training Q&A session where no questions are off limits. Anything you got on your dog training, dog behavior, questions, just let me know. Shoot them in the comments. And again, guys, if you're watching, shoot a comment. Let me know you're here. Wish me just let me know you're watching, where you're watching from. And how this works is every week I start off with a topic, and then as questions roll in, of course, I stop and I answer the questions once I finish the trend of thought. So with that being said, last week, I know we had some technical difficulties with some sound quality issues for whatever reason. So, but I did get a really, really great question from somebody after the live ended. She has a dog that apparently barks a lot. I'm assuming based on the comments that they live in an apartment or something like that. And the dog not only barks when she's not home, but even when she's home. And of course, living in an apartment type of situation, it is frustrating for the neighbors that hear this dog barking. So the question was, how can we fix this? Because, people have been evicted from places because their dogs are causing problems. So, again, how do we fix it? It's just conditioning the dog for what you want and learning how to say no to your dog when they have this unwanted behavior. So, what my suggestion to her was very simple. When you're home and you have the opportunity, you put a leash on your dog and you keep the dog tethered to you. So, if they hear the noise from the upstairs neighbors or the neighbors to the left, to the right, downstairs, or whatever, they hear the noise, they start barking, you're there with them. You do your firm leash correction with a firm no, and then we reward them when they don't bark or they stop barking. So again, I hope that makes sense, guys, because it's kind of it's a very hard thing for people to do, to make that adjustment to when dogs are barking. Um, I'm just pulling up my live here, so just bear with me a second. Um, So when your dog barks for a noise up, like I said, upstairs, downstairs, wherever the dog may be barking from, make a quick correction. Not a hard one. Remember, a little leash pop because we have a leash tethered to the dog, and firm no. And when they stop barking, praise them. Give them the treat if you want to give treats. Whatever you want to do, of course, I'm good for that. Um, it's important to praise them so they see that, hey, oh wait, when I barked, I got that uncomfortable feeling, that sound, no, no, hey, whatever. But when I'm not barking, they're happy, they give me a treat. Because remember, when you praise them, you're praising them. Good, yes, that's what I want. And they learn this over time. This works for any unwanted behavior, not only the barking. Again, that's great when you're home. But what happens when you're not at home and the dog is barking? That is a little bit trickier because you're not there. So how do you correct this? So one of the things I try to tell people to do is set them up for success by setting up a monitoring system in the house. And you can use your iPads or tablets and phones or whatever and set up a camera system. You don't have to go out and spend a ton of money. Just use one of these. And and you go outside, and a couple things you can do is, if the dog is barking because there's a noise upstairs, you have your thing muted, and as soon as they start barking, mute no. Hopefully by then they understand the term no. They'll hear it through the other end of the device, and that should say, hey, okay, when mom and dad aren't home, I still not allowed to bark like this. The only time they should really, really bark, especially in an apartment environment, is when somebody knocks on the door, they hear a noise in the hallway. Those to me are acceptable reasons to bark because dog is barking because there's something there. But like here where I live, if somebody barked every time we heard the neighbors upstairs, she would never shut up because we hear them a lot. It's not their fault. It's just how they are. So when people are outside on the lawn area, Zoe doesn't bark at them. She doesn't bark when she hears the noises upstairs. She barks when she hears noises in the hallway or somebody knocks on our door. And those are okay to bark. And I will never, ever say no to that bark. I may say enough because, okay, enough. Thanks. You let me know somebody's there. There's two different scenarios on barking. I have a hard time saying no to barking because I want dogs to bark. That's an alarm system. But if they're barking obsessively at every sound they hear, I kind of have to go with the no because I want them to understand that sound of the upstairs neighbor moving out their chair doesn't mean barking. The sound of somebody knocking on the door does mean barking. So you have to kind of differentiate it. So if your dog is barking for the unwanted, the normal everyday ambient sounds that are going on around you, that's when it's okay to say no. But if your dog is barking because somebody's in the hallway, if you're in an apartment type of complex, or knocking on your door, I wouldn't use the no at that point. I would use enough. Enough. Thanks for letting me know somebody's in the hallway. Let me know somebody's here. But I wouldn't use the term no for that, if that makes sense. Guys, I'm not seeing any comments, so I know people are watching. Shoot me a comment. Let me know you're watching. It's real important for you to set the differentiator for your dog, but also be very clear. So when you do the no and they stop barking, praise, praise, praise. And then what you want to keep aware of is you hear the noise upstairs and they don't bark. Good, praise, treat. This way it reinforces it a little quicker. And the dog should understand that barking is not acceptable. So I hope that makes sense. And if it doesn't or it does, let me know in the comments, guys. Come on, I want to see some comments popping up here. Always I feel like I'm here by myself. The other thing that, and I do have my phone on here because I want to make sure that everything is working the way it's designed to work here. I'm trying to get the comments to come up so I can see if people are typing comments on my phone because sometimes this doesn't work very well. I'm trying to figure out how to do that, so just bear with me here. That's not it. Live chat. Hopefully people are there putting, if they are putting comments, I'm not seeing them yet, but that's okay. So the other thing I want to talk about this week, as long as we're not getting any questions, is again, the biggest thing I hear about, I see on Facebook, I read about, is leash reactivity. This is a major, major problem. First of all, people with puppies, get them out, get them socialized as quickly as possible. Keep in mind, follow your vet's instructions as far as when they can interact with dogs, whenever their shots are up to date. But you want to get them out in public as quick as possible. If you're a conscientious dog person, you can bring your dog out into the street area, on the concrete, the blacktop, or whatever. And even if they're not up to date on the shots, in my opinion, as long as when they come in, you wipe their paws and you wipe their undercarriage or anything that may touch the grass or where they could pick up something. But you want them to be out in the world. Dogs are social animals. Dogs that are usually leash reactive are dogs that don't get out in those informative puppy months that they have. So the more you can get them out, the more you can bring them into the world so they can see what's going on and get to know people. Exactly what I've been waiting for. Good. Welcome, Jane. The leash reactivity part is real, real important. And again, how do we control leash reactivity? I talk about this a lot, guys. Is everything has to start calm. That's from the moment you take the leash out. No excitement associated with that piece of rope, period. If you put the leash on the dog when the dog is excited, you're setting yourself up for failure and you're setting them up for failure. So if we can start the process taking the leash out, having the dog sit calmly, waiting for us. I'll get to that question in a second, Nancy. If you start the process of the walk calmly, it makes it easier. So practice that. Just putting the leash on, dog sitting calmly. You're focused. They're focused on you. You're the relevant one, not that leash. Okay, so once we do that and we start that journey to our front door or wherever we're going to go out with the dog, that has to be calm too, guys. That you have to be in control 100%. So if you start taking that step towards that front door and your dog drags you there, stop, come back to where you started. They have to walk next to you. You're guiding them. They are not guiding you. They are not leading you. You're doing it. Short leash if you have to. Disagree with any pulling or any excited behavior, and only move forward when you see that state of mind is calm. So now we got 2 stages of calm. The next step, of course, is threshold management. I refer back to my YouTube channel, guys. If you haven't subscribed yet, go to it. It's Back to Basics Dog Training. Look for the logo. Look for a picture of Zoe and Maddie, I think, on the banner thingy. Find the playlist, How to Leash Train My Dog in 5 Easy Steps. Episode 2 is about threshold management. Threshold management is the most important part of the walk. That front door open does not mean out. That has to be 100% calm. You cannot go through that door. You cannot open the door if the dog is excited. You can't even turn the doorknob if you think the dog is excited. Because if they're excited by you putting your hand on a doorknob, they're excited. And we don't ever want to reward that state of mind, especially when we're dealing with leash reactivity. So if you can get the dogs to follow you out the door when you invite them out the door, which is the best way, which means you walk out the door first, you invite them out, they come out like ladies or gentlemen, you're ahead of the game. Practice the calm, work on the calm. That is so important to the success of our dogs. You have no idea how important that really is. Once you start the journey, the walk, the traveling mode, especially on leash reactive dogs, it's all about structure. Forget about anything else. It's all about structure. It's not about smelling. It's not about exploring. It's nothing. We are in travel mode. We are structured. You are following me. And the reason that's so important with leash reactive dogs is those smells and all those can create excitement. And excitement is going to get them in trouble. So what you start doing is you start walking, you watch your dog. Look at your dog's body language. Guys, there's the disconnect with leash reactivity. Is you're walking your dog, no distractions. Your dog is a happy-go-lucky. You look at their body language. They usually get this nice strut going. First mistake humans make when they know their dog is leash reactive is we see the dog first and we start tensing up on that leash. We're ready for this battle. Stop it. Take a deep breath, relax, trust your instincts, trust yourself, trust your dog. Remember my 3 C's of dog training. Calm, confidence equals control. It is so imperative to your dog and your dog's well-being. When you see the other dog, start really focusing on your dog's body language because you're going to usually see the dog first. You see the dog, start watching your dog's body language. The slightest change in that body language is when you want to make that correction to say, nope, you're not allowed to react to that dog anymore. You give a firm leash correction, you discipline sound, give the dog another option to sit, try to get him to focus on you, which is the most important thing, and just keep watching. And it's not, no, calm confidence to get the control. It's that no nonsense approach. No, sit. You practice this. Be safe, keep distance, of course, and you try and make the dog focus on you. And if you have to use treats to do it, you can at this point because you stop them at a lower level. The higher they go on that 0 to 10 scale, the less anything's going to be important to them except for what they're focused on. So the most important thing for you to do is keep them at the low level. When they're at a low level, you can now use treats to get them to focus on you. If they're at a high level, you can wave a treat in front of their face. They may not care. So it's real important to stop the process before an explosion. Most people, and I've said this week in, week out, wait for the explosion and then they try to correct their dog. It's almost impossible at that point, guys. Really focus on your dog's body language, because you're going to see the body language before you feel that energy. So as long as you stay calm, confident to get the control, and you pass that through your leash at that lower level, your dog will tend to focus on you. So when you do that correction, nope, sit, they're going to go like this. Okay, now what? Now you can entice them with the food and the treats and all that, if that's what you choose to do, to keep them focused on you, showing them that that dog that's passing is irrelevant, because it is. And if that dog is excited, that's fine. You have to teach your dog that represents calm. And if you do this enough, and I always say, if you have a friend or a neighbor or a relative or somebody who can help you who has a calm dog, it's always easier to start it with the calmest dog in the neighborhood. I bring Zoe to a lot of my leash reactivity dogs. Why? Because she's so calm no matter what. They can be barking, doing all sorts of crap, and she just looks at them like you're nuts. So if you have somebody who has a very calm dog, that would be the dog to start the process with. And then if you have a friend, a relative, or a family member or whatever that has a medium energy dog, after we master the calm dog, go to the medium energy dog. And then high energy if you really have the guts to do it. But you got to do it, and you got to do it consistently. And your energy is going to make the difference. The calmer you are, the calmer your dog is going to be on that leash. I've seen it. I've done it. It works. It just takes the time. And don't make the mistake of putting a time limit on it, because if you do that, you're going to end up hurting yourself. So Nancy asked a question. Can you comment on getting a puppy, just started to walk, not pick up, try to eat everything? My biggest suggestion on this is most people with puppies use a harness or something like that, because they don't want to put anything on the dog's throat, like, using a leash and a martingale collar or anything like that, or a slip lead. Is one, use a martingale collar, because if you have a harness on, you can't control the head. You can't control the head, you can't control the body. So if you do a martingale collar, put it up high behind the ears, and when you're walking, keep a short enough leash that the puppy can't, you can feel the puppy trying to pick up or smell the ground, and when they do, just give them a slight correction with a no. Puppies will try to put everything in their mouth. They don't know the difference between good, bad, or indifferent. So it's real important to set the structure when they're puppies. That when we're in that structured part of the walk, it's not about smelling and picking things up. It's about traveling. That's how they do it in the wild. That's just natural. Their nose is strong enough to smell things that are on the ground or 5 feet away. Their sense of smell is strong enough. They don't need to put their nose on everything. So again, if you're using a harness, and I understand the reason for harnesses, because nobody wants to put anything on a puppy's neck, it's going to be almost impossible to stop the head from going down to pick up things. So I would suggest a martingale collar. They're adjustable. Put it on the dog. Dog starts to sniff the ground and put his face and nose on the ground. Just a little correction with a firm no or nope, or hey, or whatever discipline sound you're going to use. And do this repeatedly. Consistency is crucial. And just keep repeating the process to stop the unwanted behavior. And again, and then when they pass something, and depending on how you want to do it, you can actually set your dog up for success. Is once you start the process of, okay, we're not allowed to do this, start putting things on the ground that outside in the driveway, whatever, that may entice it, that's healthy. God forbid we miss it. So dog treats, kibble, whatever, and get them just to set up an obstacle course and just walk through it with them, and don't let them pick up the food or whatever you're going to entice them with, so they understand that even though it's my kibble, I'm not allowed to take it until you tell me it's okay. And I would only tell them it's okay as if I pick it up and give it to them. But you can set them up for success by setting up an obstacle course of the health things that are good for them. You can put sticks there, you can put pine cones there. Those things aren't going to kill them if they get them. And guide them through it. They're not allowed to pick it up. And if you do this enough, they get it. They just get it. They understand it, guys. I mean, they're smart. They want to please us. They want to do things to make us happy. And if we just keep going through the routine with them, they get it. So I hope that makes sense, Nancy. I hope that helps you. Let me know next week if this helps. Of course, Jane, the same thing. If you practice this leash reactivity with your dog, it works. Guys, and also don't forget, if you still have some issues that this isn't clarified, because I bounce all over the place on Saturday mornings because I'm trying to answer it and address so many issues. Anybody who's interested in a private one-on-one session, of course, we can always do that. We can also do it via Zoom, so we don't have to be neighbors. You can be anywhere in the country, around the world, that I can help you via Zoom. Zoom is definitely an affordable way of training because I'm teaching you and giving you the tools to do this. It's the understanding the dog psychology and how to properly discipline your dog and condition your dog for what you're asking them to do. So again, a lot of it goes to my 3 C's. Remember, guys, keep those every time you're working with your dog. Calm, confidence to get the control. It is so important. You have no idea. With that being said, guys, we're at about the half-hour mark. I know it's Christmas Eve. I don't want to keep you guys here any longer than I need to. I'm still fighting with this cold or whatever the heck it is I got, so it's kind of affecting my voice now. So if there's no other questions, we're going to wrap it up a little early this week. As you know, but of course, if there's questions, I'll be happy to answer them. But if not, we're going to wrap it up, guys. As always, thank you for inviting me into your home each and every Saturday morning. It is truly an honor and a blessing to be able to bring you this format. Come January, I'll be probably doing 2 of these so we can get them out across the country a little bit more later in the day during the week. I will keep you guys posted on my Facebook pages. Everybody, thank you. Have a very, very Merry Christmas. Healthy and happy. Thank you for inviting me into your home. As always, stay healthy, stay safe. God bless. And remember, together, we can help one dog and one family at a time. Merry Christmas, guys. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.